Trustees, or the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Village of Dansville to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. Okay, first item, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the organizational meeting on April 2nd, committee meeting on April 9th, the budget public hearing on April 15th, the special meeting on April 26th, and the special meeting on April 28th. If you're so inclined, we can also do the regular meeting minutes, but I realize those minutes got to you late. So if you want to hold off till next month, we can do that.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Oh, where's your sign-in sheet?
Right here, I'll sign you guys in. I'll get it.
You know, Mary Jean.
Yes.
Yeah. Bill, there's some seats right there behind Tammy, maybe if you want to get those, or behind Jackie.
You can go back.
There you go.
I'm just going to get it for me and I'll spell it.
Quite a crowd tonight.
This is probably it.
Pardon?
This is probably it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes as published.
Okay, do we want to do all of them, or just the first five that I mentioned?
I'm in favor of doing them all.
Okay?
What? Dick makes a motion. Yes, all right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Whitenack and a second by trustee Labar to approve the minutes as indicated on the agenda. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have nobody for privilege of the floor this evening. Moving on, the only thing I have is the reminder, and again, this doesn't really involve, I think, any of the trustees, but we do have the CSEA grievance arbitration hearing on May 29th, just so you're aware of that. Under committee reports, first under legislative, MedX update. What do we have?
You all should have received an email on Thursday. They had the full spreadsheet. I did also put a copy of the current year spreadsheet in your folders. We're up to date with the MedX, and I believe, I haven't talked with Jerry in person, but I believe that we're all on the same page, the ambulance as well as our office.
Okay.
But if you look at it and have questions, just email it back to me. I'd be happy to answer them.
Just sort of a heads up, tonight is an open house down at the ambulance garage, so I don't expect anybody here from the ambulance company to speak for them. Public safety,
Before we go on, could you update me, or all of us, on the audit for the ambulance?
haven't gotten any more back from Bonadeo Group. They received the information they were looking for, and we're just waiting for them to complete it.
You said last Wednesday you were going to be in touch with them?
The only thing I've gotten back is that they received the information that they were short on. Megan sent them some and I sent them some, so that's as far as I can tell you right now with everything that was going on at the end of last week. Didn't get in touch with everybody the way I wanted to. Anything else under legislative? Okay. Public safety, trustee Labar.
Code Officer Tammy.
Yes. Report's the same as it was last week. The CVS, their on-site superintendent said they officially started work yesterday because they got a roller in and a dozer. I don't know what to tell you there, sorry. There's public hearing downstairs right now for Taco Bell though, and in addition to the animal hospital, that's all looking good. I talked to the planning board before I came up. What else you want?
Any update on 62 Elizabeth?
Moved. George Smith worked this weekend, I worked this weekend, and they said worked this weekend on our own time and got them back all in on Sunday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it has been inspected now.
Yes, by me. Sunday night, and again on Monday, and again today.
That was a very quick turnaround.
That was, people that do care,
Yeah.
busting their butt for a property owner that doesn't care. But yeah, I had to go back one more time today because I made George put carbon monoxide in the smoke detector in the basement. But yeah.
Well, thank you.
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, so if y'all just want to ask questions, you should have in your packets. You ask for state code on key boxes to add to the fire department stuff. Yeah, right on the front cover should say New York State Fire Code. It's,
I don't remember seeing it.
No.
I gave it to Pete, who put it in all your mailboxes.
Yeah.
Let me guess, it's
Oh, it was
downstairs,
Yeah.
all
two
the
of the
mailboxes.
mailboxes.
Should have been in 12-4.
I gave you 5 copies and I watched Pete put it in the mailboxes. Pat's got it.
Yeah, there was stuff in 2 of the mailboxes. Did you probably get it?
Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah. Sure.
I don't think there's anything else you wanted from me for tonight. I know that was a definite.
Any questions for the code officer from the trustees?
We did speak the other night, or last Wednesday, regarding the properties that,
Are abandoned?
Are abandoned.
yes.
Charlie I've spent 3 hours on it and only got 3 streets done, but Chief Perkins here says he could do the whole village in 2 hours, and apparently he did. So there you go.
Handwritten notes,
Because
I'll
I
type
can't do
up.
it in 2 hours.
Okay.
I'll type it up in a list so that everybody has it, but, you know, there's 1 page, 2 page, I know there's probably, like we talked about in the past, there's probably 30 or 40 buildings.
I thought there were 8 or 10.
Oh, no.
No, there's 8 or 10 that we probably mow.
If
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
if we're under 50, we're
Okay.
doing good.
Yeah.
These are abandoned, and
Nobody-
not the ones that are being mowed, or some of them are being mowed.
The list of requests was empty buildings, if I recall, so these are empty buildings.
Right.
Some may be abandoned, some may be in the process of being sold. Not all do we will mow the grass, some the banks will mow the grass, some previous owners will come back and mow the grass, some the real estate companies will take an opportunity to get someone to mow them. A lot of variety there. But these are empty.
And again, how is it determined how the grass gets mowed? By the village?
The police take that responsibility and we send a notice out to whoever we can find on the previous tax rolls or whatever information we have as far as who's responsible for it, maybe stickers on the window, so on and so forth. So once we send out letters to who appears to be the responsible parties, and 1 of 2 things occur, either we get the letter back or B, within a certain number of days, usually 10 days, if the property's not maintained, then I pass that list or piece of property information along to Scott, and he has the DPW guys take care of all the mowing.
Are there like guidelines, or is the grass have to be 6 inches tall?
No,
8 inches
over
tall?
10.
Over
State
10.
building code says you're not allowed any grass over 10 inches
inches.
high within 500 feet of a residential building. That's state property maintenance code. I can get you a copy of it if you want.
I was wondering what their guidelines.
So that's the guideline, and they go by it. I think it's actually reiterated in our zoning law also, that magic 10-inch number.
So we don't do it unless it's 10.
It's over 10 inches.
We had also agreed or discussed that we were going to document from this point forward the properties and which ones we're mowing and approximately how many man hours are being put into mowing the yards. Once we have the list, and
I think you should make a clarification on the mowing of these properties. You can't go over 10 inches by the state code, but we don't wait for 10 inches because number one, it'd be a bear to mow them at that point.
Right.
So it was,
And depending on the neighbors' properties, I mean, some neighborhoods are mowed a little more regularly than other neighborhoods. And depending on whether this piece of property is next to another abandoned property, sometimes it's hard to use the neighbor as just judgment, as a marker. So there's a lot of variations to it, but the biggest thing is the village ordinance requires us to make a written notification, which we do. And then the village ordinance gives us the authority to go in and mow it. So that's where Scott's guys take care of that. And I believe Scott said that they keep track of the hours.
yep.
thank you, Tammy. Chief
That
Jury.
means it's you, honey.
You're up. Chief Jury, you're up.
Fire department responded to 31 calls for the month of April. I have the calls broken down by category in the report. Our average response time was also documented. That is decreasing, which is a good note. The intercom system on ladder truck 518 has been replaced. I believe all the repairs have been made. So that certification should be good on that. And that's all I have.
Were you called out for the fire in Groveland last night?
We're put on standby.
Both the ambulances are
Yep.
I saw them.
They're on the news. Must have been three, must have 3 ambulances because I saw 3 clips. Each time was a Dansville ambulance.
Okay.
Are we still looking for the new truck to be delivered in June? Which is next month?
I would guess end of June, maybe beginning of July, so it won't be here the first week of June, but probably later in the month.
Okay.
Maybe beginning of July, so. They're supposed to be sending me some pictures when he goes out to Salesburg. So, sure when they want to get up.
You want to discuss the proposed law now or wait for new business or?
On the Knox boxes?
Yeah.
We can discuss it now.
Did you want to review this? Or you were the neck box?
We do it and deliver it on the meter.
Well, yeah. Well, we discussed this previously, so we're all aware of, what we're looking to do within the community. There's other communities that have done it. I did have a couple questions. I'm looking at Section F, contents, and it talks about the various keys that could be collected or within this lockbox. I don't see anything here about identification keys. I think it may be worthwhile to add that. How they'll be identified, if you want to be able to grab whichever one you're interested in without having to go through them and try them. And reading through this, it appears as though, as far as whether or not the properties have been identified here will or will not have one of these boxes is optional. Is that correct? I mean, if they sign a waiver, then they don't have to actually have one. And what about on new construction? Is that going to be optional or is that going to be a requirement?
New construction, I've been requiring it
Yeah.
because that thing that's in your mailbox says that all new construction is at the discretion of the code enforcement officer duly appointed to that municipality on whether they want to require it on all new construction. I have been requiring it on new construction.
I think you ought to change the wording here then, instead of saying shall, will, or is required or something to that effect.
We use the word shall because that's what New York State
Yeah.
building code does. Whenever the New York State building code uses the word shall, that means
Will?
do or
required.
die.
Okay. It wasn't clear to me, but
Yeah, when you're reading your.
I think it needs to be
building code.
understood that if
Yeah.
that's what we want, then we need to state it so, because if
right.
somebody thinks they can parse the word up into little bits and get it their way, they'll try it. And there'll be somebody out there, so we need to make sure that there's no question what our intent is, if that's our intent.
Yeah, all the books of the building code is every line, shall, that means do or die.
anybody else on the board have any questions about the document?
Not at this time. I'd like to look it over a little bit more though before we act
As
on
you,
it.
as you can see, Pat, when you guys get yours, I gave you pictures of examples of what it looks, what they look
Yeah,
like on
right.
buildings, so that you had a good idea of what it was.
You want me to sit down and say that? And go over some of that stuff?
We could do that. Sure. That's all the questions I have. Any questions from the board? Again, I don't see anybody from the ambulance. They're hosting open house 6 to 8 tonight. Maybe it's worth commenting at least. We did hold a very quick session here. Just started discussing the new contract. That's pretty much where we're at. Police department.
Nothing overwhelmingly new from last week, just to reiterate it, the new police car is here. It would appear, I'm still waiting for the last check for DWI funding to show up, but I would anticipate that would probably be about the neighborhood of $7,000, which means that car has been paid completely through the funding that we've saved up over the last 3 years. So no additional taxpayer burden there. And again, I still anticipate that equipping it will still be something I can shave out of the current budget, so there'll be no added increase there. So for all intents and purposes, the car purchase, equipment, turnover costs is not, I would say free, but without additional village funding. So that's a good break for us.
We do have Sheriff York to thank for giving us the 3 years of
You
the
have the
DWI funds.
You have the Dansville police officers doing their job, participating in that state program. Good thing for that.
And he allowed us to get.
No, he didn't allow us, that's our grant. That's our grant, we participate in that program as equal partners. Well, not equal partners, but as hopefully become more equal now. Officer Burley completed the drug investigation school and is back just in time to head to Texas with Officer Dries to bring back a drug dealer and bail jumper. So they should be back this evening with him, get him fingerprinted and processed, and take him back to the jail and drop him off. And that multi-month search is over with. El Paso, Texas, he ended up in. Other than that, we still got a couple community service workers that have put in probably 25 to 30 hours of effort picking up garbage, sanding down and painting the little league bleachers, raking leaves, and hopefully this week we'll have them do a few more odd jobs. And the Dogwood Carnival, parade, dance, and activities, to the best of my knowledge, went as well as in past years, so no issues, no problems, of any more or less than past years. So I think that's all I have.
How did it go from your point of view, Greg?
Good, it was my first year, so I learned a lot of some things I want to change, but if I could, I'd like to thank Charlie and Scott and the workers for all the help. Wouldn't be able to do it without them and stuff. I know they did a lot of work on a Saturday, and I appreciate it. I know people who watch the parade don't understand what it takes, but it's appreciated by the chairman.
Charlie, is there any idea when the car is going to be striped? And
I'm hoping to make some arrangements for that at the end of this week. Yesterday, 2 mental health issues, a car deer accident, 2 house break-ins. I'm not sure those other odds and ends. So,
yeah,
that's
just
yeah,
ballpark.
I would guess I'm probably not expecting it before the end of, I'd say the middle of June, but I'm going to give myself a little more leeway and say the end of June.
Okay.
A month.
Yep.
Got to take it to Tavia for the radio equipment to be installed. Got to take it to Tonawanda for the striping to be done.
Yeah.
It'll take some time.
Okay.
Anything else for the police chief? Thank you, Charlie.
Thank
We have on file just the reports for the month of April. And you want to discuss that subtopic at this point?
If you would like to. That's why it's there.
Did we come up with a figure, Megan?
We did. I was $13 based on 20 hours a week.
And we're
And
gonna
then I
look
came
at-
up with a monthly salary based on that.
Okay, did you come up with what we had discussed as an increase to that?
Yeah. So 13,520 annually,
And that was at what figure, the $13 figure? And
based on 20 hours a week.
Okay, and what about the other figure?
14.
You wanted me to figure out with $14.
Pretty easy to do that, so 1,020,
Yeah.
get it onto that.
14,560.
560, yeah. 13.
No. No, what do you want me to, what do you want me to,
We're good.
isn't that what I just gave you?
No, we're good. Yep. The only thing I didn't look at is if we were to approve the increase, where the funding would come from.
Government support.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts too. At this time, I'd like to make a motion based upon prior conversation that we increase the annual salary of the county clerk to $14,560. The monies to be, the additional monies to be funded out of the government
Government support
Support
line. We have a motion by trustee Labar to increase the court clerk's pay. I will have a second.
Second.
Second by trustee Whitenack. Discussion.
And again, it's $14 an hour, 20 hours a week.
Yes. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, not hearing any. Trustee Labar,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Criley,
Aye.
and the mayor is an aye. Motion passes 4-0. That it?
That's it.
Budget, finance, and audit. The first item under there, were we able to get the information, Scott, on the
Yes, I did.
wastewater treatment plant and composting? Just give us an update where we stand on our expenditures in these couple projects. Project and sub-project. I'm gonna put this over there with Jay stuff, please. Sure. Do you need one, Megan? I guess you can give. Thank you. Have you had any talks with Al or anything today or last day or so about how things are going down there?
Things are going pretty good.
Good.
Today they came in front here and moved that line, so that's done.
Mhm.
So Rusty should be able to get moving ahead with that. Yeah. Mark seems to be caught up, so things are rolling.
Again.
Again.
Okay, you also should have in your folders a copy of the budget modifications. Since you didn't get these sooner than today, you can certainly wait until next month if we need to approve these. That is your choice.
That'd be my preference.
Okay, then we'll wait till next month to approve those. It shouldn't be a big issue. Okay, I'd also make a motion then to approve the following special billings for Osborne, Reed and Burke, LLP, $6,464.30 for legal fees. For Wagsys Technology Group, that's $3,548 annual service contract for the code office. John Vogel, $2,133 for legal fees. Southern Tier Area Rentals, Star Rentals, $7,630 for a lawnmower. Caterpillar Financial Services, $106,333.32 for a loader. Milton Cat, $137,110 for a loader. Bernard Donegan, $238 for financial management services, also $2,314.06 for financial management services. MRB Group, $29,811 for engineering services at the wastewater treatment plant. MW Controls, this is a pay app, 13, $42,879.43. Crane Hogan, $290,337.88 for the wastewater treatment plant, also payment request 13. Blair Supply, $6,934 for water meters, and MRB Group, $5,338.79 for engineering services for the composting facility project. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Whitenack. Discussion? Okay, Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley? And the mayor is an aye. Okay, I'll make a motion then to approve the following bills. General, paid checks, $13,787 through $13,797, $42,130.13, as well as having audited checks in the amount of $372,766.82. Under Water Fund, checks 252 through 260, $12,798.14, and audited checks in the amount of $94,807.51. And then the Sewer Fund, checks 195 through 206, to be $34,757.51. Audited amount was $73,273.40. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second from Trustee Labar. Discussion? Okay, Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. And we have no band or bond payments due this month. We approved them last month. They were due, I believe, the 1st. So those are taken care of. Public Works, Trustee Whitenack.
Okay, Scott,
I'll run down what we did before, just for the public.
All the wonderful things that have happened in the
Yeah.
last few days.
I'll run down what we did.
we're not paying in.
There was a water main leak down in Hester Court that the crew fixed. Repaired some fire hydrants up in Crestwood Circle, replaced one and repaired two. Planted some new trees down at the Babcock Park, 7 autumn flame maple trees. And we planted one cherry tree in memory of Don Seiler over here in Church Park. We received $6,200 for some discharge from the CVS store where the gas station was. And we had some flooding on Friday. I'd like to thank Chainbow and his crew. They were a huge help to us. We were there the whole time. And both crews worked very well together. Got a lot done. Clay Street flooded again. The usual. The flow it could handle, all the flow it could take. And we did replace the sidewalk a few years back as a Band-Aid, if you will. And it did work. It sent everything to Prying Street. And it made a mess, but no basements flooded on Clay Street. The crew did an outstanding job of cleaning that up. That was quite a project. We had on Seward Street, There's an issue up there with a plugged culvert. I don't know, Tammy, did you have time to print those pictures? I got them to you late, I know, that one picture. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna have Tammy print a colored
I can-
photo.
I can go print them right now.
No, that's
Y'all
fine.
don't mind. Give me
We
5
can
minutes.
show the board later. But there's an issue up on Seward Street where the small stream crosses. That we'll need to address. Pete saw it firsthand, some issues. There's a large log jam behind like Luke Quella's, Dave Oakfield's property in the stream, and it's big. I've been on the phone half the day with the DEC trying to get in the creek. The boys went up today and hauled a lot of the debris out. You can do it from the bank with machinery, but you can't get into the stream. So tomorrow, fisheries and soil and water are gonna come, and hopefully they'll allow us to get into and clean that up. It's a very large jam, and it eroded behind Chuck Metler's and Lou Coella's. It took out a lot of area. It's quite a mess. And then downstream, there was numerous trees. Today, the guys got probably 60% of those out. And then there's a situation down by the Red Jacket Bridge, the state bridge. They washed out there. I've talked with the DEC and the state, and the state would like to do a joint venture. It's kind of both of our situations. It's our street, it's their bridge. So I'll keep you posted on that, how that turns out. We also, on Friday, the state they had no resources left. They called, they had an issue up on 256, and Chamberlain's crew, we went up and unplugged that culvert. And at the wastewater treatment plant, we have a situation, the old control building, the roof is leaking like a sieve. It's a flat roof. I've got some options that I don't think we really need to get into tonight, but maybe to put a pitched roof on that building, get rid of the flat roof. We can do that cheaper than we could repair it. I don't know why it wasn't in the project. It would still be added to the project. So I got some pricing today. I'll talk with Bill Davis and we'll address that down the road. What else did we have? Pete, I see that you left all that equipment that I put in last week out.
You were busy, so I didn't bother you with it, but we can still go ahead and discuss it.
Okay, do you guys still have that sheet from last week? The spreadsheet that I sent out, did everybody get that spreadsheet?
It was the one he gave to us at the meeting last week on all the different equipment
I
about.
got it, but I may not have it right here in front of me. You sent another one recently, but I don't think I have a copy of it with me.
I did. Yeah, Tammy, maybe go make a couple copies of this. The spreadsheet that I
Yeah,
made.
that would help.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
right
Tammy?
here behind First Street.
I also, today, preparation for these, Patty, could you just hand those down? What I did, just to kind of paint a picture, because there was, some of the folks weren't around back when this all happened with the wastewater treatment plant. But if you look at the top line, where it shows that $18,709,000, that was the original plant. And if you look at right across the top line at the 4.5%, I think Pete was in the room, and I remember it, and I'll always remember it, when Ryan Colvin said that was a great interest rate and we should take it. Well, if you look at the payback is $39 million. And the cost of each and every one of us in this room would have been $482 a year for that, for 38 years. So, we've come a long ways with that plant. I think everybody in this room, has worked very hard at it. So if you go down the line, and the numbers are all there, if you get to the bottom, the wastewater treatment plant with the 0% interest, the bottom line is kind of where we're at now at the $10 million. If you look at that, that's a, did you hand those out? Oh, I'm sorry, it's $156 per customer. Now, that's just for the money, that's not for operation costs and things, that's just for the project cost. So it just shows you from $482 down to $156. For everybody in the room, that's a pretty good savings. And I threw the fire truck in at the bottom. Not to pick on you guys on the fire truck, but again, I'd like to see us, we do have some reserves and maybe look at that hard, but if you look at the interest rate, just look at, say, 2.25, it's $121,000 of interest over 20 years. So the 0% loan that we have for the wastewater treatment plant and the equipment, and I wish everybody was at the meeting that we had with the vendors and with my employees, Matt and Dougie, because those are the guys that need this equipment. It really is a very good deal for the village because you're spreading that cost with 0% over the 30 years. So it makes the purchase, a pretty reasonable purchase. Questions?
This doesn't need to be acted on tonight, does it, Scott?
The only one I would like to act on tonight, because it involves this year's budget, is the GPS equipment.
Okay.
Because I would like to use the money I already have in the budget for that, for this year. And the other one I would like to act upon, because it comes with loaders at pickup room. And I'll tell you, I would love to have that on Friday here. I think that's and again, he did make the offer. If we don't like it, we can return it. So that would have been a very nice piece of equipment to have on Friday. Instead of sweeping that up by hand, we would have been able to pick it up. And Bill, thank you too. You did a lot of work on Front Street. If we'd have had that, we'd have just went down and picked it up, and it would have been gone in the dump trucks and gone. So
I personally don't have a problem with the GPS since it's a budgeted item, but I question, where's the money coming from for the pickup room?
I'm going to take that out of this year's budget too.
Out of yours?
Yeah. That's why I'd like to do that. So I'd like to have, like Brian talked before, get the loaders in this year, and then they're done for this year. Then next year it's just trade two and buy two. I would like to explain to the folks that we did sell our loaders this year. We made a profit, and that's the money that we use to buy the new loaders, so they don't cost the taxpayers money. Just so everybody knows, on the swapping of the loaders, we get new loaders, and we make a little money, and we don't have to do repairs to them.
There's never been a pickup room?
Pardon?
There's never been a pickup room?
We just have a regular broom, but it doesn't pick it up.
Kicks up the dust pretty good.
What's that?
Say it kicks up the dust.
It has water on it.
I remember doing Clay Street one time. It was pretty dusty down there when they were going over it.
Well, you should have put a little bit more water. Might have been a guy in there that just learning too. I think Dave was in the loader, so.
This wasn't this year. This is
Before?
yeah, before you came on board.
Oh, okay.
Before any of us came on board.
Okay.
Well, except for maybe Dick.
I thought you were talking last week.
No,
The roads were
no.
so wet, I don't know how there'd be any dust.
Scott, I saw on the vouchers that we looked at prior to tonight, sweeper rental of $23.45 out of Rush, New York.
Yes, that was for the sweeper that we rented. Yep.
For what length of time?
That's for 1 week.
1 week.
1 week. We had another fella come down for one day. That was, don't quote me, but it was $125 an hour, and I think he was here about 8 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're expensive. There's no doubt. I mean,
Yep.
a new one is $200,000, and to buy one, and they're a high maintenance item. I'm talking the big self-propelled sweepers, not the pickup.
And with this pickup room, you'll be able to accomplish the same thing.
Pretty much. I think maybe in the spring it would be nice to bring one in for a week, a sweeper, just to help officers a lot. If you go down, right now, I have not pushed it off, we're dumping it down by the football field. And you can just pull in there and see the amount that he picked
Yeah.
up just in 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. It's
Okay.
amazing, it really is. But yes, like Saturday during the parade, well, we used it all day Friday and Saturday, they went right down after the parade and they would just swept everything right up with that pickup.
Move to approve the broom and the, what was the other one?
Want to take one at a time?
Okay.
Okay, a motion then to take, go with the GPS equipment
Oh,
first,
Right,
to
okay.
approve
Yeah.
that. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from trustee Criley. Discussion? Okay, we'll start the other end this time. Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
And the mayor is an aye. Okay, now the pickup broom, $17,815 to come out of the DPW budget somewhere. You'll pay for that all at once, Scott?
Yes.
Hey, can I have a motion to that effect to make,
Move to approve.
I have a motion from trustee Whitenack, second.
Second.
Second from trustee Labar. Discussion? Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Okay. Making my work more challenging.
Then the rest of it, you want to talk about it next month? That's fine.
If there's no rush on it, we might as well.
I think that's about it.
Okay, tomorrow we're supposed to go to Watkins Glen, are we not?
We are.
There's-
Dick LeVar, would you like to ride with Pete? I'll let you use the truck.
That's okay, we can use my truck. I'll use my truck. I think he's working tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that one coming today.
You know, I totally even forgot about it.
Mhm.
I had appointments for DC in the morning, but I can cancel those.
Well, go where you need to be.
Yeah.
I can take care of the grant session. Yeah, we talk to me afterwards. Okay. Anything else for Public Works? Anyone here, any of the board members have any questions?
No.
Parks and Rec, trustee Whitenack.
Okay. Have we heard anything? I'd like to say that all of the planners have been spoken for. Rotary is taking care of Babcock Park. I've got a couple yet to work on with Church Park here in the Girl Scout house. So, but I think our parks are looking, and our planners are looking pretty decent, so I'd like to commend the people that took it upon themselves to do that, so. And getting into the Brookside house, have we heard anything from?
I got an email yesterday from Beth Cato, and they were not looking at paying anything. They had checked with the community to the east of us here and found out that they are not paying any rent for their facility. That whoever has that facility, I don't know, is that a village or town owned? The little house in Wayland. Anyway, the scouts don't have to pay for it, the other groups do.
Yeah.
So whoever owns it, has control on it, that takes care of it.
Then do we,
Well, we have to decide what we want to
I
do.
was just going to say, yeah. Are we going to look into
It's paid, according to her email, the NICEAG bill and everything is paid up through the end of May. From that point on, it's sort of in our hands.
So they won't be meeting there.
If we were going to make an issue out of it, that is correct. But I told them we had not made a decision yet, that we were looking at that, and that there was still room for discussion.
It's the first we've heard that they didn't want to pay anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, that's a new twist.
Yeah. I'll sort of point out that we take care of Babcock Park for the most part, yet any of the, other than the adult leagues, everybody gets to use the facilities down there for nothing. Likewise with the Little League field and the playgrounds. So I don't know, is it something we should be worried about?
Then we calculated it would cost around $1,000
A year from
a
the,
year in NYSEG, plus whatever maintenance and upgrades that are needed, which would be probably minimal.
at this
I mean, they
point.
did mention some, putting new locks, and I think there's some upgrades inside that they were at least proposing.
While it is technically our building, it was given to the Girl Scouts by the Board of Education back in 1947, I think. And the village said they could plop it on our property, so there you are.
Yeah.
And that building is in, I think, better shape than the building up in Wayland.
Yeah, the one in Wayland has had some refurbishing
Yeah.
done to it, so.
I think it gets used a lot more.
Yeah,
than-
yeah,
I know the Boy Scouts are in there too, at least
Right,
the Cub
yeah.
Scouts are.
yeah.
I mean, if they were willing to accept some liability for usage, I mean, personally, I would like to see it being made available not only to the scouts, but anybody else in the community, and if we're gonna do that, I would have no problems looking at the village to pay for where the expenses are over the course of a year.
I'm sure we can do that.
For $1,000, or
Yeah.
let's say it's 1,500. I mean, their actual expenses were about $1,000 per year. But there's got to be somebody within the organization willing to take responsibility. When you're paying for it, you kind of look at it a little bit differently than if you're using it, somebody else is paying for it.
And we have to consider the fact of maintaining the building.
They still got to look at it as though it's their own, anybody that uses it. We would want some type of agreement that, at least in my mind, they'd be willing to sign to, accept the liability, responsibility of using it if we were to, fund it and pick up whatever expenses are incurred.
Could schedule it just like we do the park.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yep.
And they could send.
But they own it? They own the building, right? The Girl
No,
Scouts?
we actually own the building because it is on public
Right.
property.
Okay.
It was given to them by the Board of Education, and someone at that time decided it was a good place to put it down there. Of course, you didn't have the big issues, legalities and everything that you have today. Nobody was too concerned, and at that time, I'm sure the village board said, oh yeah, you can put it down on the park property, not realizing that 2 years from, couple decades later.
Yeah.
So are they open to having other people using the building?
Yeah.
Because there's maintenance and cleaning and all of that?
Yes.
Goes along with it. They are
Yes.
open to that?
Yes, they are. They mentioned that night they were downstairs when they came and visited us.
I don't know.
In fact, another group had been using it until that group went bottoms up. That was the Dansville Service Organization.
Do we have insurance on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm assuming so, let me put it that way. I could check with Nymer, though, with Dan Wenzel, and be sure, but I'm sure that we're supposed to have all of our property inventoried and insured.
We're gonna have to look into it and find out what type of rental type of agreement, type of system that,
Well, we should have some sort of a written arrangement with them.
yeah.
Yeah. Is this something you want to act on tonight, or?
Let me get with them, and I'll get back with Beth. She apologized for not getting back sooner, but they'd been discussing this for a while, I guess.
They still sidestep the question about how many meetings they have there, you know, a typical month or year.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that was originally the question we had asked.
Mhm.
We own it, as many as we want. Yeah.
Okay. Just unless there are other questions on Brookside, I'll jump down to the Little League field parking. I've been in communication with Angela Ellis down at the planning department regarding getting some additional parking. Actually, I asked for parking from Knox Street over to Bank Street, if we could get that. She said that was beyond her authority to say anything, so she had to kick it upstairs. I'm waiting for a response back, and she wanted to know if we wanted to buy that. I said, at this point in time, I went back first and said, do you mean buy the whole parcel? Or just the area for parking? When our original agreement was we wanted the parking area for free.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she said she'd kick it upstairs and see what they say, so I'm waiting to hear back on that. And that's all I've got under Parks and Recreation.
Right.
Anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Okay. Technology, Trustee Criley, do you have anything?
I think we're just in a holding pattern with the website redesign until we decide what we're going to do with the dissolution.
Well, we hadn't really discussed it. That was the purpose of putting that on there for this evening. Is that what we want to do? Just hold it till we decide what we're doing with dissolution?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we need to go any further with that. And then we'll jump down to the Consolidation Committee, also Trustee Criley, unless somebody else had something else for technology.
No, the committee hasn't met again until we hear back regarding the approval of the grant,
Mhm.
the Craig grant from the state. Bernie Toma with the county has received permission from Dean Coyle to go ahead and write the grant. And we're just waiting to see if we get approval for that.
I did touch base with Bernie on that, or rather he touched base with me. The one thing, it started up in the state, started it on May 15th, as a matter of fact. We have to register with the Grants Gateway.
He said that a couple months ago.
Yeah, and we hadn't done that yet. I did that today, so that will, and did we get that mailed out today?
No, not yet.
Okay, I will go out tomorrow to the state, and then they'll send us back probably some sort of an identification number. And Bernie can submit the package through that portal. So that's where that pretty well stands right now. And is there anything else under the committees, department heads, before we move down to unfinished business? Okay, under unfinished business, I have a motion to approve the fire department's Babcock lease. As I said last week, there are no definite plans, but you know, I don't see where there's an issue on the 15-year lease. They cleaned that area up and got it in the condition it's in right now for the most part. And they've used it a fair amount. They have refurbished the kitchen area and the lockers, cooler, whatever. Yeah. What about the bathrooms?
There's no lot of talk about the bathroom.
I bet there has been.
Yeah.
Are those hooked into the sewer system?
No, well, it's, there's a lift station there, so.
Yeah.
Takes it off some money, right?
Yeah, there's a-
Okay, so it is hooked in.
Did you do the mowing and everything in there?
No, the school does that.
The school does the mowing?
They mow if we don't say anything.
Actually, Walt mows inside there.
Well,
Does it?
I was kind of wondering how this whole lease came about, because it kind of is similar to like Stony Brook has their pavilions. And why does the fire department have this pavilion? As opposed to anybody else, why isn't it just like a community pavilion?
I want to say when they put the park in, I'm not real familiar with it. It was years ago. There was a stipulation in there that had to be some of the not-for-profits were involved. You know, the fire department was heavily involved in putting in all of the baseball fields and the entire park itself. And their portion was they were given that area for lease. There was talks about putting the track down there for the high-speed racing team and everything else back then as well. And that all.
And I read the lease, and one of the things, they said that you get the liability insurance yourself, correct? You get between
Yeah, we have insurance.
Pardon?
We have insurance, yeah.
Right, between $100,000 and $300,000. Okay. So how does it work, say if somebody wants to have a graduation party there? They get in touch with you,
Yeah, they contact the fire department and set up a date.
and then do they get charged for that?
Yes,
So who gets that money?
fire department.
How much does it cost to rent for a day?
I don't have those figures. I'm not sure.
Malcolm's still doing that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire department's Babcock lease for a period of 15 years. And also to make sure that the terminology is updated to reflect where we're at in 2014.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Second from trustee Whitenack. Further discussion? Questions? Not hearing any. Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Mayor is also an aye. And we'll just get the thing typed up accurately. Okay. Next item is to discuss and vote on proceeding with the dissolution plan study. And that's followed by a second motion or resolution here to discuss and vote on the MRB group dissolution plan proposal. I don't know if that's how you want to actually proceed, but we could, I think we need to officially say something about it. If that's what we're going to do, I think we need to put it on record that that's what we're proceeding with, rather than hopscotching all over the area. And it seems like we've pretty well started the ball rolling as far as getting a grant and getting MRB group involved is with the helping us out developing a plan.
I think we made that commitment.
We've made those commitments.
Those commitments.
As far as going ahead and getting them. But we haven't said, as far as the dissolution plan, to officially say that that's what we're going to do. Maybe it's just a little technicality, or I'm
Pending
wordsmithing.
receipt of the grant. I mean, there's no grant money, we're going back to square one and have additional discussions before we
Okay.
proceed. I mean, it's all pending the availability of or the approval of the grant. At least that's the way I view it.
Move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Whitenack to approve going forward with a dissolution plan study. That's all it says at this point. And that's pending approval of the grant, $50,000 grant from the state.
As long as that's part of the motion, is that part of the motion?
Yes, that's what I was putting in there.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a second by trustee Criley. Discussion? Further? Not hearing any. Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor is an aye. We want to go ahead then and approve MRB group as the plan, I don't know what their terminology is, anyway, their bid for, I believe it was $47,000
Right.
to assist us in developing the plan.
Make a motion, we approve MRB.
Okay, we have a motion from,
Plan proposal.
we have a motion from trustee Criley approving MRB group for helping us develop the dissolution plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Whitenack. Go from the other end, trustee Criley.
Aye.
I actually have a question.
Oh, I apologize. Go for it.
Looking over their proposal, they talk extensively about updating the study that was done previously and adding to it. And they talk about developing a plan. What about the implementation of the plan? What involvement would they have? Would we be left on our own to do that? They don't. Nowhere do I see that they talk about implementation.
Well, they just do the study itself. The implementation would go to if the village voters agree to dissolve, then it goes to the town, and then the town would have to do the implementation.
Okay, but that would be, my question is, that would be an additional expense outside of this study and development of the plan.
Right.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what that cost would be.
We would develop a plan and give it to the town,
Right?
and then they're pretty, and there would be a transition period if it's done correctly. It wouldn't just happen, okay, this is yours, take it. And again, it's dependent upon the people accepting the plan to begin with.
Right. If I were now sitting at a town board meeting, I would want to know what that implementation cost would be. And sitting here in a village board meeting, I'd want to know what that implementation cost would be. I mean, if you got a study, you got a plan, but it's going to cost exponential number of dollars to implement it, obviously that's part of the conversation you need to have.
And I would guess that that would be in the plan. Until you develop the plan, you're not going to know.
Well, they've done it, you know, at least for two villages previously, so they've got some history. They've got to have some idea about the cost of implementation.
It says projected cost for implementation is part of their village Lions dissolution study.
But we could ask them how much it costs and what they've done previously,
says
if they'd be
one time.
willing to share that with us.
What was, do they have Lions numbers there, Pat, or do you have them?
No, this is just in the plan that they gave us. And ours follows that very closely.
You want to amend the proposal, the motion?
I'd like to know what the amount, at least to have some idea of what it would cost to implement it.
Okay, we can table it for 1 month.
Okay, withdraw the motion.
Well, you can just go ahead and we'll table it. I just need a motion to table.
So moved.
Okay. Trustee LeBar, second. I'll go ahead and second it. We'll table for till next month. I'll get those numbers and get them back to you quickly. Or, yeah.
There is a cost analysis, number 10, of potential dissolution implementation costs in the study, in the proposal that we have, number 10.
But you want something,
Well, I'd like to know,
It's part of
from the
their
work they've
plan.
done previously, they've got to have some idea of what a typical cost or an average cost or a ballpark figure, whatever you want to call it, you know, even if they give us a range, what's the low and high range of what it would cost to implement it, just so we have that figure. And I would think that the town would want to see that figure. I mean, the town has representation on the committee.
that committee.
Or you just want us to move forward, Greg?
I agree.
You know?
It would be nice to know.
Yeah,
They do have that in their study, or in their plan.
yeah. I can get a rough one anyway. I'll get a hold of Diane
That's
and
all.
ask her.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll get back, and I don't see that as a major holdup because we still got to
No.
get the grant yet.
Right. No, it's not. It's not.
And I'll just let her know what's going on. Is that okay with you, Pat?
Yes.
Okay. I just need a vote on tabling it. Trustee LeBar,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Criley.
What are we voting on? Tabling it?
Table.
Just tabling it for 1 month,
Okay.
right? And I'll be an aye, so. And maybe by then we'll have some word back on the grant. Okay. A motion to approve a light on Jackson Street.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening. Okay, a motion by trustee LeBar, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Whitenack. This will be down by the old church down there.
Didn't we have a light down there before?
We did, and nobody was living in that corner house. So we took that light and just moved it over to the center of that curve on Earl Drive.
Right.
Now somebody's bought the other house. They want a light back there. But it's actually a little cheaper now to put it there because, I don't know, what'd you say the cost was going to be, Scott?
$7 a month, $84
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, okay.
So all we did was just shuffle things around. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Further discussion? Trustee LeBar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay.
Scott. New business. I'll give them to you now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. This is up by, on Seward Street there, where the culvert goes underneath the street there by Sanford's. And this was the original connection that was underneath the ground. Between the sidewalk and roughly the end of the porch. And it's a smaller pipe than the original culvert going in there. You see where they just slid it inside that one. And they patched it up with bricks loosely.
Big pipe going into little pipe and directional flow of water does not work.
Yeah. You'll notice that there's sort of a catch basin type arrangement in there.
Yeah.
And what happened, there's a couple boards, 2x6s were they, or 2x4s? 2x6s came in. And of course, that being wide, they angled themselves such that they went across and blocked the smaller tube. And although there was some water going in, there was more water coming down that creek than that could handle. It was going up and over into Diane Akam's yard and threatening her. But the fellas got up there in a reasonably good time, got that taken care of. But that's what's there right now. There's a steel plate over that with the back or the excavator sitting on top of it. It's not going anywhere. Okay. Scott tries to figure out what to do. You're just going to put a box in there, right? It's a temporary issue until we know what the plan's going to be for all of our
Right.
runoff. Take care of the flooding. Okay, moving down to new business. I need a motion to remove Doris Culberson from the registrar position.
So moved.
Have a motion by trustee LeVar, second. The mayor will make that second. Discussion? Not hearing any. Start at the other end. Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee LeVar?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye as well. Thank you. Next one is a motion to appoint Jessica Wissick as the village registrar. We got information back from the county that this really wasn't their bailiwick as far as full-time, part-time. I have been waiting for our attorney to give us information. That's who they referred us to. I had hoped he was going to have it back this evening. Let me just check. Maybe I'll have something. And no, I don't. As to whether or not this is make her full-time or be in two positions, still remain part-time, and even if we combine the two, it'd be 34 hours, whether that would constitute full-time.
I have some questions. The village registrar sits in the town office.
In that space, yes, because she was also the deputy clerk for the town.
And then the town clerk was deputy for her. Is that right?
As convenience, yes.
Yeah.
And so the town has no involvement in the registrar? Is it?
Not at this point.
Village registrar or?
It's the village registrar.
Okay, so the town doesn't have a registrar?
At this point, no.
Is this kind of like a code enforcement thing? Do we share?
No.
It's my understanding that the village registrar does provide that service to the town, but it's on a per case basis, meaning that I believe that the person in that position was receiving a pay per hour from the village, and it was pay per transaction from the town, because the number of transactions or people coming in there with requests was minimal, almost zero, very low numbers.
From the town?
From the town,
Okay.
yeah, from the town.
So how much work does that generate? No, they do birth and death certificates?
Birth and death certificates are the major ones. I don't know what else there is in there. Do you know, Megan?
That's it.
You know, we really don't have a full grasp because of the situation as to the, what we should be getting out of that office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So until we can get someone in there to give us some accurate data, we're sort of flying blind a little bit on this.
Move to approve.
Okay. I have a motion from trustee Whitenack to approve Jessica Wissick as the village registrar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Labar. Further discussion?
I'm wondering how we can approve someone and we don't have the information from our attorney, whether that constitutes part-time or full-time, and we don't have a grasp on the hours and all of that, so maybe we should table it until
I
next month
I think we need
and
to
get
get,
information from our village attorney.
I'm of the opinion we can't table it. I mean, I have the same questions that you have, but we need to move somebody into that position, even if it's on a temp basis.
But you don't know how many hours or whatever that job requires.
well, I think we'll start out with 20 hours and take it from there.
Well, it's a 10-hour job right now.
What's that?
It's a 10-hour job, the registrar is.
okay.
But what we could do is keep it at 30 total for the two positions until we know for certain.
Right.
That'll give us time to get Jessica over there, work with Tim, and learn what the position is, if that's okay.
I would
That sounds like a good approach.
Right.
Yep,
I would go with
that's a
that.
good approach.
Okay, so I guess I'll make an amendment then to the original proposal. I have a second on the amendment.
So move.
All right, trustee Whitenack made the second, and this is on the amendment only. Trustee Labar,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Criley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, now on the amended motion.
Could you repeat the amended motion?
The amended motion would be to appoint Jessica Wissick as the village registrar, with her hours not to exceed 30 hours for both, combined with her position as the deputy clerk. Okay. Trustee Criley,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Labar,
Aye.
and the mayor's an aye. Okay, motion carries. The next item, we had this Major Energy, and Charlie just stepped out on me. I want a peddler, but Megan can tell us a little bit about what happened here. We've had an incident with the same company before they even got approval.
Yeah. I don't think we can give them approval.
No. So as far as I'm concerned, why don't we go ahead and make a motion, then vote, if we don't want to give it to them, vote down, that way it's official in the record.
So moved to
We have a motion to
not allow,
not approve.
not approve the permit.
Okay.
Travel permit.
Okay, I have a motion from trustee Whitenack, second.
Second.
Second from trustee Labar, discussion.
I need to know why you're not going to permit them. I haven't been informed.
Number one, they came in asking for a permit. We said we would take care of it. In fact, I believe Megan made that very clear to them that night that the young man came in. They were all already, before even getting to permit, and she said it would be probably by tonight. It would be the end of this week.
I told them if they didn't hear from us by Friday
Mhm.
of this week that we're in now, to give us a call and we'd let them know if
Yeah.
it was approved.
They have been going around already without permission.
Some strong arm.
I don't know about strong arm, but they've been
Well,
going around
they're-
without permission.
Yeah, and some of the tactics they've been using.
Yeah. So, and in fact, we found this out because they showed up at Karen's door.
So they were asked twice by the police.
Yes, and the police were involved in it.
Yeah.
Any other questions or concerns? No, we weren't, I was guessing we wouldn't reject it, but in light of the fact they don't want to follow the rules before we even approve it,
Yep.
sort of sets the wrong tenor.
Right.
Okay, trustee Labar,
This is.
this is not to approve, so aye means we're
Aye.
turning them down.
Okay, aye.
Trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
and trustee Criley,
Aye.
and the mayor's an aye. Okay, and last week I gave you a letter from Town and Country that they wanted to close off a portion of Allen Street there, basically same as they did this past year.
Yeah.
The section between Maple Street and the other exit from Rogers and Tenbrook, so they can have their barbecue in July.
Motion to approve the Town and Country 8-way street closure request.
Okay, have a motion by trustee Labar, second.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Criley. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion passes unanimously, 4-0. Okay, we also had a request to approve the Freedom Walk, Freedom Walk from for our four-legged friends in September. And that's usually done on the sidewalks, but just say that they've gotten a request. Okay, I don't know how many people they tend to have. 2 years ago when they did, they had a fair number of people out there. This is for pit bulls.
Pit bulls.
Yeah.
2011, I
Yep.
think the letter said the last time they did that.
Yeah.
And they expect upwards of 15 or more in the March
Yeah.
for the walk.
Yeah. So if I could have a motion to approve. We had no problems the last time.
Move to approve.
Okay. Trustee Whitenack made the motion, second.
I'll second
All
it.
right, second by trustee Criley. Discussion? Not hearing any. Trustee Labar?
Nay.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. So it passes 3-1. Next item is a request from the American Legion for the $600 for the Memorial Day celebration. It goes towards flowers, flags, and upkeep of the park down here around the memorial, Veterans Memorial.
Motion to approve.
And a motion from trustee Labar, second.
I'll second that as well.
Second from trustee Criley. Actually, we've already approved paying it, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and do it again. Discussion? All right, trustee Labar,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Criley,
Aye.
and the mayor's an aye. And we just need a resolution approving, well, I gave you a copy of a draft one last week. A resolution for supporting the county's application for the Main Street grant. Motion, please.
So moved.
Trustee Labar made the motion, second.
Second.
Second from trustee Whiteneck. Discussion? Okay, trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Whiteneck?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. And the next one was just a discussion on the MRB Group Knox Street proposal for the reconstruction. Anybody get a chance to actually look at it? Because I didn't, to be perfectly honest.
I did take a cursory look at it. I think they're asking for, what, $24,000?
Something like that, you know. Yeah, I looked over it quickly, but I didn't see anything that really stood out. What do you think, Scott?
Well, if we would like to proceed with it, I'd like to have at least one shovel-ready project. There's some talk of maybe us releasing some money for some of these projects. That street is in very bad condition. And with replacing the water line, you pretty much have to go with an engineering firm.
Sewer line's okay through there?
Yes. And it's a new
How about
sewer
storm
line.
sewers?
Storm sewer's got to be replaced.
Replace, yeah.
And it is a small project. I think we can keep it under an acre, especially just putting one sidewalk on one side. I don't know, I don't have a proposal with me tonight, I don't think. What was Bruce Bach's fee? Was it 3,500?
Something like that.
Yeah, right around 35.
Yeah.
I wonder if we
Yep.
could approve, there's some work that he has to do before MRB can.
There was a part A and a part B.
Right. But I guess I want the board to, they, could want to accept it all, I guess. Because there's no sense of Bruce doing his work if we're not going to allow MRB. But to get a cost for that project, I mean, I can ballpark it, but I would like to have MRBs. I've already priced out the water line, the drainage and things. It's a doable project, we can do it. There's some other streets we need to do too. But that's one I'd like to do this year if we could. So, I can use
How are we paying for it?
I can use it on the whole job
Yeah.
or this part.
Well, this part right now.
This part I would use CHIPS funding for that.
That's permissible?
Yep.
What are we getting this year, do you know?
They're releasing more money,
Mhm.
so it'll be probably 120,000 or somewhere in there. I haven't seen the final figure. Have you know?
Okay.
Scott, you were going to put together a priority list of the road work that's going to be required this year and put a cost estimate.
But I haven't done anything.
Okay, now I know you've been busy.
I've got the list.
No,
I've got the order of the streets, but.
I understand.
And
No.
again, I'd like to sit down with.
Yeah. But I think that ought to be part of this decision process as far as the Knox Street and what other work needs to be done in the village. That's all.
Well, the only thing with this project, the rest, the streets that we're just gonna mill and fill, basically, and we don't need any engineering. But this is gonna take some time. to
Oh,
get
yeah.
Health department approvals and all that. So again, I would like to get this part out of the way. I've got NICEC now, they're gonna move the poles, get it ready. If we decide not to do it, we'll hold it off till next year. I did talk to Bernie Toma today on the grant that we applied for last year, the 600. Did he talk to you today about that?
No.
I wondered if we could reapply again. And Bernie thought, the village's problem is we have a pretty good base here. There's a lot of citizens. And that project, it would be a small project, and the burden on everybody's very small. So we were just talking on some ways to get a grant. And I mentioned on the Clay Street issue with the flooding. And he didn't know if it was possible, and you can talk to John. But if we could make that a district, where it affects just those people, we have a large cost for very few people, we might be able to get that grant to repair that. But it's not gonna happen this year,
When you say repair that, you're talking about Clay Street, the creek?
Yes. So we might be able to get that grant if it affects those, and I don't know how you decide, you know, it does go down through everybody's backyards.
Mhm.
Does the entire village pay for that, or those homeowners? I mean, if we could do it with the homeowners and get a grant, so the homeowners don't have to pay anything, that would be great.
Yeah.
That $600,000 grant, we could do some serious damage over there for that.
Well, according to, well, the whole reason why we went with this NRB study for the creek
Right,
was because we needed to have a plan in place
Exactly.
so we could apply for the grants. The grants are out there according to the Regional Planning Committee Board, whatever they're called.
but this might be another option.
Mhm.
If we can't get it for other areas, we might as well, you know, this is gonna take a lot of money to correct that situation.
Yeah.
It's correctable, but
You know,
it's gonna take some grant money from somebody.
okay. Have you had any more talks with Bill or the other fellow up there in MRB as far as the flooding goes, flooding plan, what
We
they're...
sent it, well, actually Bruce was out there, it was nice on Friday. Bruce took a lot of pictures and
Okay.
sent them on to Tom.
Okay.
They're working on it. I know Bruce has started with surveying on that.
Okay.
But, you know, it's gonna take probably a couple months, I would imagine.
Well, I'm sure.
To get through all, that's a lot of work. They have a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
But at least we're started in the right direction, finally.
Okay. Anyway, so what are you asking for tonight as far as Knox Street goes? Anything?
Yeah, I'd like to approve it and get it started. Like I say, then we can get a true cost on it, and then you guys will know. I mean, if we don't do it this year, we can do it next year. But at least the plan's in place.
Yeah.
And I showed you guys the red lines over there. I mean, it's an old line. And I like the idea that gets Main Street has a brand new line, that gets another new line to the hospital.
Mhm.
That's what I like about it.
Right.
Those lead lines bother me.
Yeah.
They bother me too.
Big time.
And that's really the way we need to proceed. We really should be doing at least one street a year. You know, every year goes by and you don't do a street, it's, you know.
Do we know how many other streets, at least in that quadrant, need or have lead lines?
No, I'm gonna have to, it's quite a task. You know, this time of year I don't have the manpower, but maybe Jess, I'd let her go through the book and get that information for us.
'Cause
There's
it looked
a lot
like-
of lead out there.
Looks like most of that was put in the 20s,
Yeah. Before.
which raises a question about North Acres. A lot of those houses were back in that era. Some of the oldest ones,
I know we did
20s or
Main Street.
30s.
We did Main Street, I think there was probably 75% of them were lead on Main Street at the time. That's how we got that pushed through, because of all the lead services
Mhm.
back then.
Is it all documented then?
Yes, it's all documented, it's just a matter of going through 2,500 records, and it's, you know, it's very doable. It's a good thing to get completed.
Okay, well, I have a motion then to approve the MRB group proposal for Knox Street.
Motion to approve.
Motion by trustee Whitenack, a second. I'll make the second. Discussion.
MRB money would come from the chips, correct?
Mhm. Any other questions? Okay, trustee Criley,
Aye.
trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Labar,
Aye.
and the mayor's an aye. Actually, the next item on there is actually a duplication of the one we already took care of for the county, the court clerk. We disregard that. And that brings us down to community comments. Mr. Putner,
Good evening.
good evening.
Clay Street, that ditch that goes by Clay Street there is an extension of Mud Creek that has been put on record for many years now. It is not a creek. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And We had an incident at the house where Carol needed help, and we called 911. We got 2 ambulances and 2 police cars. Boy,
You complaining?
important.
I say, you complaining?
It's not the people being there, it's the idea that we got charged twice.
Have you seen the bill?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we got it. But
Who were they both Dansville? Shouldn't have been.
we had the village ambulance,
Uh-huh.
right? But they didn't have an EMT. So the county stepped in with another ambulance because they had the EMT. Well, why didn't the village fired ambulance people stay at home and the county come in instead of having all those ambulances tied up?
Don't know what to tell you, Bill. We can look into it for you.
Okay. And now I heard the code enforcement officer talking about mowing lawns. Who bills these people? The village? If the village does the work?
If it's an abandoned, we're only doing the abandoned properties.
Okay.
That means there is no owner, or they're hard to find. So if we can find them, we bill them. If we can't, we don't.
Okay. And then,
I should say, we probably find them, but whether they'll respond is another issue.
okay.
Because a lot of cases, in most of these cases, they're bank-owned or mortgage companies. If they're out of state, we have absolutely no leverage on them. Usually the in-state ones, we can get them to do something.
I appreciate the village workers and that sweeper. That is beautiful. I mean, you know how many times the state had to go up through there to clean that stuff up and all that dust and everything? Our boys were down there and they did all that and it was beautiful when it was wet. And I also want to thank you guys for taking care of that bridge or that sluice pipe underneath Sword Street. We've made mention of it years past, and it's always been overlooked. I'd like to take and see that cleared up. The bridge on Chestnut Street is huge. The hole in the bridge on the other side of Sword Street going north, that's huge, you know. The
One with the steel plate on it?
Huh?
One with the steel plate over it? The hole you talking about?
Well, the one on Sword Street?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you just don't take and have one street with a box this big for the water to flow through, and another one you have a sluice like that. I know. And just, that's all I wanted to say, that the village workers worked good on that cleanup. The cast iron platform in front of 159 Main Street was taken when you replaced the tree. Evidently, that cast iron was sold for scrap metal because it hasn't been returned.
Well, that's the grate that goes over the
Yeah.
spot where the tree is. Do you know anything about that, Scott?
In what location?
The planter right in front of 159 Main Street. You replaced a tree there a few years back, and then the cast iron platform was never put back in.
I don't know if they replaced the one you asked me about, but there's a couple of them down. We use them, a couple of them got damaged on Main Street. They were used to replace those.
Okay.
Because they're like two-piece.
Yeah.
So like one half is broke, they'll just take it. I know we have maybe a couple left, and that's about it.
Okay.
So when they're gone, I'll have to scout around and try to find some more.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Vanderhoof.
Board, good evening. Would the board consider an ordinance that people operating their horses within the village clean up their exhaust from their horses.
Politely put. Would we consider that? Actually, we have an ordinance for that.
They don't carry it.
There's just so much you can do that hasn't been a high priority with everything else that's going on, Jack, to be quite honest. Unless you see it happening, it's like people littering. You gotta catch them in the act. Now, you could, because you don't know which horse did it.
Could you have an amendment to that, that, I've heard of this, that down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, they have a bag that goes on a horse's butt.
Yep, they do.
Could that be part of a village ordinance?
We could look at it, yes.
I don't want to step in that exhaust.
Gotta look down once in a while.
And that's all I have, sir.
No, we'll look into that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Horse exhaust, I like that.
Different from jet exhaust.
Other people in the community have expressed your concern. So it's an issue.
Health issue too. Thank you, sir.
It is in our solid waste law.
Horses were here before the automobiles.
But they had dirt roads then.
I'm sorry.
Any other community comments?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I've gone around through this holiday that we just had and went around to all the yard sales and whatnot. And I've noticed that a lot of our telephone poles are getting chewed away from them using nails, using staples. And I thought that was addressed once before.
It's something that happens periodically. We have to,
It
you know,
seems to be more
you educate one
coming
group.
back this year.
Educate one group and then it dies down for a while, then it picks up again with another group or maybe some of the same people, I don't know for sure. But yes, you're right, that they are not supposed to put anything on telephone poles or electric pole, utility poles. It's actually private property, belongs to the utility company. But to be perfectly honest, we've been guilty of it ourselves, the village, because we've had stop signs stuck on them. Which Scott has been pretty good about taking care of that. We've been reminded a couple of times by, says, you'll drive down the road, you'll see a sign, you don't pay any attention to it, and you find out, somebody calls you up, oh, that sign over there? Yeah, sure. Well, it's stuck on a telephone pole or a nice egg pole or something like that.
And my other one is dogs.
Mm-hmm.
There are more loose dogs all the way around. You see them floating around all over town with nobody with them, no leash.
Yep.
And it's getting worse. I have to watch where I walk to where if I meet an animal that's just almost as tall as I am, I'm scared.
I agree. Yep. Yep. I've had
Chief, would you
several
like to address that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to call yet on any of them.
For us to call
Yeah.
them personally?
Call the police.
Oh,
I don't know if you've had an opportunity to call 911 yet.
no, I
That's how
thought
you
I'd
want-
wait till this meeting.
Yeah, no, that's how you want to respond, is you want to contact 911, then they'll dispatch us to locate it, and, dogs aren't overly fond of mailmen and cops. But we probably, I had one the other day, that is the most athletic dog I've seen. I rolled down my rear window, because it was warm in the car. He probably leaped from the front of Dick LeBar's desk, through that window like a deer, and landed in the back seat, captured. He did. Happy as hell to be there. So we probably, I would say of dogs we actually set eyes on, we probably, 8 out of 10 will get in the car. And we bring them back here and we hold them till the owners show, and if the owner doesn't show by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then we turn them over to the county dog control, and then they take them, and if the owner doesn't locate their dog there, then they adopt the dog out. They don't destroy him, they adopt him out. So it's been quite successful. You know, communities are funny. I mean, I've always said that the chaos of your community you can measure by your animal complaints, because people treat their children and their homes and their properties and their own personal activities a lot like how they handle their dogs.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt there's a little bit of every spring there's a spike. There is right now. We've had a really unusual set of circumstances this year where we had 3 dogs kill 3 other dogs. And we haven't had that in the 29 years I've been here. I can't remember another time we actually had 3 so far this year. We file if the dogs are loose, we file that ticket. If the dogs are unlicensed, we file that ticket. And then we file the dangerous dog complaint with the courts. And they order the dogs, for the most part, it's a matter of ordering them to be muzzled in public and then maybe spaying and neutering if that's not already been accomplished. And we're working through, one person who had a dog, took the dog back and turned it into the organization that they originally got it from, and now we've been working with that group to see what they plan on doing with the dog. So, you know, it's a constant thing here in I think, the information I left to the board last week, I think there were 2 people. There were 2 people on this that were charged with unlicensed dogs. We've got another one that got ticketed a couple days ago for an unlicensed dog, and we've got another one that came in the day before and just has to catch up with the officer, so they're going to get their loose dog ticket. We've got another situation where the owner puts their dog on a chain, and the downstairs neighbor, who is unusual, lets the dog go because she doesn't feel the dog should be chained. So you have an owner doing the right thing and a downstairs neighbor not helping her out at all. So there's a whole variety of stuff. But yeah, just call 911 and, you know, if we can, you know, if the dog's anywhere in the neighborhood that we can set eyes on, we usually end up with 8 out of 10 of them. We actually gather up and find the owners and ticket accordingly and all that. But don't hesitate to call.
And talk about horses doing their thing. Dogs doing things on other people's property with no bags, no nothing, and they just walk away.
Yep, and there again, you know, there's, I think last count, there's 75 streets in town. And, you know, the shortest one is Eagle Street, I believe, and the longest one is Main Street. Main Street by itself is 2 miles from one end to the other, and you can't see one from the other. So on any given street, wherever the police officer is, there's 74 other streets that don't have a police officer at any given time. So we really rely upon the public to make those 911 calls and give us a heads up as to what you see and which direction it's going, and we'll chase it down and see what we can find out. And that has nothing to do with the parks and the schools and the hospital, and that we put extra attention to along with those 75 streets.
Anything else?
Could I say something along those lines?
Please.
Would it help to put an advertisement in the paper, in one of the other newspapers, a notice that you have to pick up your dog's poop, or you're subject to a fine, a $25 fine, I think it is.
Well, that's up to the courts to find out.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's already in our litter law, isn't it?
Yeah.
$50?
Yeah.
Would that help in putting in an ad somehow?
That's what they've been using, is the litter law.
Right.
Particularly these young girls who let a dog don't have a bag with them.
If there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Motion. Second? Scott?
I'd like to be part of the executive session at the beginning, to talk about some employee issues.
Somewhat?
Employee issues.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chief.
Okay, second, please.
Second.
Second for trustee.
Are we going to executive?
To discuss an issue concerning a trustee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.